Good evening! I'm finally back with another high-effort video essay discussing a topic that people will actually want to hear about. So, in a bit over a week, depending on when this video gets out, the next Rain World expansion is slated to release, known as the Watcher. This expansion is quite mysterious, especially compared to Downpour, which we kinda knew everything about beforehand due to the Mini Slugcats expansion being a pre-existing thing. Due to the mystery surrounding this expansion, I've taken it upon myself to create a comprehensive analysis of everything we've seen up until now relating to Rain World: The Watcher. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer is in order. I'm not a genius. I've tried my very best to catalog everything, but I might have missed something here and there, but hey, if you comment about it, you get to act superior to me, and I get engagement, so win-win. Anyways, starting off, the first tell of the Watcher's existence came to us on March 28th, 2024, with the reveal trailer being dropped. I made a video on this trailer already, but knowing what we know now, I'm going to reanalyze this trailer, seeing what I missed. I mean, there's not much. We see a bunch of Rain World fauna show up, like a lizard and a scavenger, and then the Watcher appears and walks forward from the darkness. One of the main theories I heard about this trailer is that it could possibly showcase some sort of invisibility mechanic intrinsic to the Watcher's abilities. That's more or less all to be found in the trailer, though. The real meat comes from the Steam page. I'll reread the whole Steam page description before I reanalyze the screenshots. Journey beyond to something, somewhere, only ever glimpsed. When the world beneath your feet cracks and crumbles, will you hold on to all you once knew, or dive into the unknown? The wilds that await will be unlike all that's come before. Unknown creatures stalk and climb and dive and hunt. New breeds rip and pluck and burrow and hide. Predator and prey redefined. And through the middle of it all, a lonely lost slugcat trying their best to outlast the ravages of a warped world. Wow, mondo cool. I'll harp more on this in my final overview of the lore near the end. It's important to get it on the floor, let it stew in your brain until we get there. Moving on, the pictures found on the Steam page are arguably even more important, because they confirm something, that the Watcher is going to be canonizing modded regions. The screenshots show us that these regions are very likely going to be Coral Caves, Stormy Coast, the Badlands 2, a region made by the same person who made the original Badlands with the same arid motifs, and Aether Ridge. The details of this particular part of the analysis is honestly probably the least concrete, because I don't know if you noticed, but there aren't any modded region videos on my channel. I haven't played any of them besides technically the Mast a little bit. The most that these screenshots tell us is simply that these regions are here, and also that the Watcher is going to have some really damn pretty rooms. Look at these. Ooh. Things went silent after a few months before we finally got the next bit of news. A musical teaser released by Akupara Games on August 23rd, 2024, titled Wind Chime. This was mostly a Coral Caves room teaser with some music in it. However, it did have a date hidden in the top left, September 19th. Luckily, we got more news before that in the form of another music teaser on the 10th of September called Consider. This teaser shows us a room from Stormy Coast. There's quite a bit of rain too, but besides potentially hinting at more complicated weather systems being implemented, there's not much here besides another banger track. However, when September 19th rolled around, we got something. The Big Cheese, a full trailer entitled Ripple. I'm just going to be quickly reanalyzing this trailer because I already have a video on it that has yet to be outdated, but the actual trailer itself starts out with a guy speaking in garbled text saying a few lines, very specifically, "Consider, a droplet of rain pierces the still water, a ripple, a ring ever expanding. Consider, movement along the circumference of a ring, from one eye a loop, from one eye a spiral, from one eye the motion of a line. Consider then a second drop, a thousandth, a multiplex of rings, spirals interacting in countless ways, a froth, a seethe, an effervescence." Listen, I kind of just wanted to reread that so that I could actually put some oomph into it this time. The guy speaks in a garbled tone, but if you speed it up and fuck with it a bit, you can actually hear that this is distorted iterator speech. the same kind you can hear whenever Five Pebbles or Moon talks. Very cool. The rest of the trailer seems to just be area reveals, but there are 2 shots that reveal interesting things. This one shot of the Watcher and a bunch of blue void spawn where the Watcher is seemingly fading into the background. Ooh, another point of evidence towards the invisibility power being a possibility. The next shot is this desert area showing off a new creature. I believe it's been colloquially named the Drill Crab by the community. He's very cool. The trailer finally ends with the reveal of March 28th, 2025 as the release date. Wow, would you look at that. Now, past this is where my knowledge of the Watcher kind of tapers off. It seems like there's some sort of ARG happening, but I don't know. So I did what any good YouTuber would do in this situation. I found someone who's more dedicated at cataloging the stuff than I am, and I plagiarized them.
Hello, I am Balagaga. My house has definitely not been invaded by the zombies, and I'm not forced to record this in any shape or form, and this recording is of my own volition. So let's talk about the ARG. Rainworld The Watcher's quote-unquote ARG segment began on November 28th, where the official Rainworld Twitter account would post 6 sequential images from the Badlands 2 region, each one displaying a new room from the region and some text, that when all combined together just says Watcher region, which many realised before all the images were posted. More importantly was a YouTube link discovered by stitching together pieces of a URL found hidden in the images. This YouTube link led to an unregistered hypercam looking video of an unending swarm of what seemed to be locusts, tearing through the Badlands 2 region. They don't seem to be friendly either. This wasn't the only time we got a video teasing new critters, as a bit later on the 20th of December, they would release some images of coral caves with some corners of a QR code that revealed a video with more footage of the sand dunes, with strange black creatures bobbing in and out of the sand, reminiscent of wormgrass, possibly some sort of odd ambush predator that grabbed the player and pulled them under the endless dunes. This creature was actually featured in the previous trailers, you can see it next to the drill crab here. The next addition to the ARG came in early January with a series of videos of the Watcher going about his business in the West Stormy Coast area. And of course there were a series of words also hidden in each video, which were slowly trickle-fed to us to reveal the phrase "more karma to pass," which could possibly be lore significant somehow. This was actually another command to be used on the ARG Discord server, which upon doing so, led us to another esoteric teaser. This one showcased a strange slug-cat-sized winged fairy thing that flies around what seems to be a new area of Aether Ridge. In the description was an anagram that ended up translating to "disruptive shadow reflecting radiance," which gave us some weird garbled audio. More on that in a second. Finally, in late January, we got a bunch of confirmed Aether Ridge videos, which through some Morse code shenanigans led to another video, this time showcasing a massive creature gliding through the sky, possibly some sort of sky whale, as it had a whale-like tail and made whale sounds, a very smart conclusion. The Morse code hidden in this video led us to a final secret video, one that seemed to be a silent monologue from some sort of strange lore-important creature. Combining it with the previous audio mentioned with this new video gave us the audio and video, which I can tell the zombies is ravenous to analyze. Okay, was that good? Can I go? I have covered the ARG much more extensively on my own channel, which there should be a link to in the description below, if you want more details on how stuff was solved and more details about each of the little teasers. Can you please get out the house now? I've done what you've asked, please just...
Whoa, that was weird. I didn't think that would happen. Well, Oh, cool. There's some more voice acting for me to do. That's fun. I'll go do that real quick. It is my shadow. I have been watching you. It is nice to have a friend after all this time. For so long I have drifted, lost, dispersed in the multitudes of the waves and the ripples. But following your thread brings me closer, perhaps, to how I was. Sorry, I went a little theatrical on it. Let me have my fun. Either way, very cool, very awesome. I'm not sure what the OAs mean. They're at the start and the end of the text. I assume they're just laughter, but like typed weird. I don't think he's going like, or. You know, that'd be weird. And in the actual audio that can be synced up with it, it just sounds like really high-pitched giggling. So I have absolutely no idea. I'm shoving this off into the lore section, but first, let's discuss what new gameplay aspects we've found through all these trailers. First off, the Watcher is likely the only available new campaign in the expansion. It's literally called The Watcher. It features a strange new slug cat with a black body and white eyes who likely has some sort of invisibility power or somehow can camouflage itself into the background. This expansion, as far as I can tell, takes place in either a updated map or an entirely new one. Either way, the Watcher's map includes at least 5 new regions: Badlands 2, Stormy Coast, Coral Caves, Aether Ridge, and the mysterious 5th one that I haven't mentioned, which is the Purple Sky Islands area. This seems to be a new region, which we know is made by Fishnoid, the same person who's making Badlands 2. The new creatures populating this new map appear to be the drill crabs, the locusts, the sandworms, the fairies, and the sky whales. I think those names are what the community calls them. I know that they're probably going to be called like winged flutterer or something like that. If I had to guess what each one does, I'd say the drill crabs are probably similar to the reindeer in that you have to use them for traversal. The locusts are a rain equivalent for the desert, coming at the end of the cycle. The sandworms are ambush predators that you have to avoid. The fairies are either food sources or have some super weird gimmick, like giving you a power for a little bit. And the sky whales are ambient creatures that serve to give flavor to the ecosystem. We've also had a few additional things teased, like non-fatal rain in the Stormy Coast. The area also appears to be sometimes foggy, so that could imply a weather system that changes every cycle. Now to get into the real meat of my analysis, the lore. My previous theory, for those who don't remember, is that the Watcher was quite literally an echo, and I don't disagree with this theory. It's still a possibility in my eyes. Things such as the splash screen, the name, and the general voidy business with its expansion make me want to believe that this would be the case. Going back to the Steam page, it describes the world of the Watcher as one that is crackling and crumbling, falling apart and likely being consumed by something unknown, which could be the Void. The environment of the Watcher is explicitly warped, which implies that it's been corrupted or twisted from what it once was. The Ripple trailer tells us to consider the nature of ripples, like a pool disturbed by a raindrop. This is likely referring to the cycles, each perception showing a different truth to the nature of the shape that is formed. Then the trailer tells us to imagine infinitely more of these cycles appearing at once. The final bit of dialogue we see is the speech from the guy who laughs weird. We don't know if this is an iterator or an echo, but we do know that they're speaking to the Watcher, most likely. They call the Watcher their shadow, that they've been dispersed in the multitudes of ripples and rings. There's that word again, ripples. If I had to guess, this character has likely been lost amidst the cycles, torn away from and unable to reach reality for a long time. How very, very interesting. The fact that this entity describes what we can assume to be the Watcher as something that brings it closer to how it once was is really weird. The immediate thought is that this is Sliver of Straw, the iterator who gave the triple affirmative and then presumably ascended somehow. But what would this say about the Watcher? A creature that can bring an entity back towards a state of coherency after being lost amidst the cycles, amidst the nature of reality itself. The splash art does still make me think he has something to do with an echo, but now that we know more about the ripples and have heard them be used as almost a direct synonym to the cycles, if my theory ends up being right, having them radiating out from the Watcher still feels way too important, as does the color scheme of bluish black and gold. However, we can also take another look at this. Judging by the distortion on the background, this seems to be the surface of water disturbed by the Watcher's presence. The background of the traditional rain world environment isn't being distorted by it, it's a reflection on the surface of water, which is being rippled and distorted, warped, by the presence of this new entity. Despite all this implied power and significance, the Watcher is still described as nothing more than a lonely, lost slug cat in the Steam description. Something tells me they're either lying about this, or that the Watcher really is just another creature lost in the implied calamity that's causing the world to become warped. This calamity also seems to be the reason why so many regions are likely going to be together at the same time. The frigid Aether Ridge and the arid Badlands 2 are probably going to be within walking distance of one another. But something else to keep in mind. When ripples move over the reflection of something on the surface of the water, that is also called warping. Perhaps the ripples themselves aren't just the cycles per se, but rather the influence the cycles provide upon the world around them. Perhaps that's why the warping is occurring. Maybe some great calamity is merely enough of these ripples happening at once. Perhaps that's why the Ripple trailer referred to it as an effervescence. Enough ripples occurring at once that the world, or, well, the surface of the water, just becomes an effervescence where you can no longer see that image reflected on the water's surface. The splash art in this case would merely showcase the watcher's ripple on its own, warping the reflection below it. Is it causing the entirety of the rippling? I don't think so. It's probably just another one of those droplets in the aforementioned effervescence. Now, the Watcher as an echo theory does still have some credence to it. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. The echoes are known to cause a ripple-like distortion around them all the time. Furthermore, on this point of the echoes causing ripples in the area around them, we know as a fact that the echoes are disturbances to the cycle. They're not really supposed to be there. They're the creation of a consciousness that did not fully ascend, a cycle that has only really half stopped. Perhaps that's why it looks like they're rippling the surface of the water underneath them just by sitting atop it. Perhaps the entirety of the regular cycle is merely water that is being warped by that ripple. Perhaps there really is some huge thing in the Watcher that is causing the entire world to ripple. Whether that's the Watcher or something else, we don't know. It's really impossible to have a direct definition. There's a lot of buzz around the Watcher. Akupara Games is trying something completely new with this, so I have no idea whether or not my theories will be true, but if I had to make a YouTuber theory, aka I'm always right until proven wrong, I'd say that the effervescence is likely causing the world to warp and become horrifying. It's also, probably, the arrival of a number of creatures' cycles all occurring at once, likely foreign ones that aren't supposed to be here, the Watcher being only one of these. It could also be that the Watcher is something hugely powerful and the warping of the world is caused exclusively by it. But the last time they did something even close to that was with Saint, and it was still supposed to feel weak and like a slugcat. I doubt they'd give us control over something with that much tangible power just to have us be murdered by a green lizard or a leech. Anyways, that's more or less all that we know about the Watcher. If I did miss anything, let me know in the comments. I'm not entirely certain what exact time the Watcher is going live on the 28th, but I know that once I do have a concrete time, I'm going to set up a waiting room so that we can all see it at once together. Apologies if it's at like 2 a.m., it's literally my job. Keep your eyes peeled in the following weeks. Big things are coming up, not just from Video Cult and Akupara. I've been shadow working on a whole bunch of awesome projects that'll be seeing the light of day within the next few weeks. Thank you all for watching, and thank you to Balagaga for helping me out with the ARG portion of this video. Be sure to check out his channel linked below. Alright, that's all from me. Enjoy waiting a week. I know I will. And goodbye.